Thank you for tuning in to the Groom's Den with Fontaine Concierge. I'm your Groom's guy, Cameron Fontaine, and today our special guest is Brezaja of Brezaja Media. What's going on, Brezaja?
Not much. I'm glad to be here. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. Glad to have you. Yo, so Brezaja is a wedding professional who is a groom documentarian. So what that pretty much means is that you just capture and highlight the groom experience from start to finish. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Basically, I follow the grooms from the first fitting, and that's usually about 4 to 6 months before the wedding, up to the wedding day, in preparation for the wedding, getting dressed, getting everything together, making sure the looks are right. And then, the big day starts. So it's a pretty cool journey.
Yeah, so me and Brezaja, we've been working together, I guess, for the past about year and a half now. As I curate the groom experience, he's actually capturing it with videography and photography. So how did you get into videography and photography, and then how did you transition to the capturing wedding experiences and groom experiences?
Right. Well, actually, I went to school for film.
Okay.
Funny story though, that wasn't my initial major. So I was doing illustration for the first 2 years, and then my last 2 years, I finished with filmmaking. And so, I've been interested in documentation, documentary, kind of like journalistic work. And then that kind of evolved into the wedding industry, which is actually interesting because it's very similar to kind of working on a set. Like there's a bunch of people moving around at like the speed of light, like trying to get everything to work perfectly and work together. So there's a lot of teamwork that's involved and just a lot of moving parts. So it's kind of interesting to see the similarities.
Yeah, so your background is in filmmaking, and in documentation. So I understand how it translates to that. But what are some of the differences in filmmaking versus documenting the groom experience and working on the day of a wedding?
That's interesting. I would say for filmmaking, it's usually more contrived. So you've got a story already. You've got a script. You've got things that you need to follow, the guidelines of what you're, trying to tell. With the wedding day and following the groom's story, it's definitely a bit more. There are more candid moments. There are things that happen naturally. Sometimes, you kind of try to get the grooms in a position where, like, saying, "Okay, we're gonna do this shot now. Like, it's time to gather over here or do this." But I think the biggest difference is actually really being present in the moment and realizing, like, this is real life. This is someone's big day. Like, this is ideally one of the biggest milestones they're gonna encounter in their lives. So there's pressure with that, but it's actually motivation to kind of capture the story right and just be super observant, because there are things that are happening all the time everywhere. So you just really gotta have your eyes open.
Yeah, I find that working with the grooms, the groom side of things, typically there is a unintended pressure to deliver, because a lot of times, first of all, in my experience, most grooms are first-time buyers. So like they're buying, like everything is new to them. They're learning as they go through the experience. But also too, they also have this expectation of nothing is really about them. As I start to bring more intentionality and sentiment into the experience, I find there's pressure to actually deliver on what it is that they want. It's a good pressure. It's a unintentional pressure that they have, because again, as I'm pulling these things out, I just want to make sure that Fontaine Concierge on the curation side is really delivering the experience that is most suitable for the groom party I'm working with. What can you speak to some of the pressure that you might probably feel?
I think the first pressure that I immediately feel, just in working with you and being a dedicated documentarian of specifically the groom experience, I think that kind of sets people off, specifically, the photographers and videographers that might be there to capture the whole wedding, especially because this is something that definitely should be more widely known, and I know that it will in the future, near future, but people don't really hear about that, so it's kind of off-putting for them, but I think it actually kind of sheds light and helps them realize, like, okay, this is really what I need to be capturing too, because there are valuable moments that are happening at the same time. So I think yeah, it's just an interesting kind of challenge to try to, navigate around that and make sure everybody's covering their stuff and me not really getting in the way of everybody, but also doing what I need to do. And yeah, just kind of making sure that I see everything, and it's a really cool experience to just follow along and bear witness to the moments that happen.
Yeah, so like, what I really appreciate about working with you is that you find that balance. So I've been doing I've been doing weddings for about 6 years, and for the first 5 years in my practice, I really relied heavily on the hired photographer and videographer team to share the moments from the wedding to actually so I can use it for my portfolio to promote my services to bring awareness. And I found that I really wasn't getting the right images and the right video and the right content to really tell the story of what it is that Fontaine Concierge offers. And once I started working with you, and we came up with the Groom documentarian role and position, I found that we were able to be much more intentional about capturing what that story is. I found before, I don't know if you've probably seen this as well in our experience working together in other weddings as well, that a lot of times if a groom party or a couple hires a videography team with a second shooter, that second shooter is mostly there in support of the primary shooter, or they'll come in later on and capture some stage shots. So by the time the photographer or videographer gets to the groom side of things, my grooms are already dressed, jackets on. Last thing, we might not have our bow ties on, but cufflinks are on. And so what we're doing is they're actually staging the shots. And what we're able to do when we work together, we actually get to capture them live and in the moment. And that's very special. Like, you get to see the first time reaction of, the best man helping put on the watch and the cufflinks. You get to see the reaction of helping each other do the bow ties for the first time. And the laughs that happen in the room. Like, talk about like some of the camaraderie and the authentic, intimate moments that you're able to catch when you're documenting the groomsmen really live in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Like, working with grooms and the groom's party, like it's always just so chill. Like, there's never any issues. Like, they just vibe. They just want to have fun. So it's cool to just see the camaraderie, and a lot of times it's nice to just see men feel good about themselves, feel good about how they look. A lot of times they're kind of new to having really someone sit there with them and really talk them through formal wear and how to present themselves. And I think you do a really great job with that, just making sure that everybody's, definitely dressed to the nines and has everything they need. So it's really fun to just see that happening in the moment and seeing them dress each other and just compliment each other on their looks, things like that. They might take some selfies, do videos and stuff. And that's another thing we do too, for social media. We might make reels where we do like a before and after, before they get dressed and while they're in their suits. And it's really fun. There's just a lot of laughs, and it's just a really chill environment. I love it. I do.
Yeah, like especially the reels. Like the reels, I like the fact that you're able to turn around content the same day. Sometimes, you don't have to wait for, a couple weeks, maybe a couple months to get their content. We're able to give them some snippets to have immediately that they can use and share on social media, because at the wedding and at the reception, all of their guests are taking photos and pictures and partying and having a good time. And so if you're capturing those moments and giving them to them in a timely manner, that they can actually start posting and sharing while their friends are doing the same thing, I find that to be super dope. And I know the grooms love it. Grooms love it. So talk to me more about what are your plans for the upcoming wedding season, and how you plan to be a little bit more engaged with grooms and the groom party, in upcoming season.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm really excited for the upcoming season. I think that with each wedding, we just get better. And I definitely think that for me, just to kind of get used to the routine and see what goes on, I'm able to better predict, like, okay, I know this is going to happen, so I need to go here, I need to move here, kind of getting better at surveying the space, because that's another thing that we talk about. Sometimes, there's not enough space for grooms to really get ready, so that's why, getting a suite is definitely the best option rather than, just like a bedroom or things where it's kind of cramped. So if that does happen, can't predict, but sometimes you just have to be adaptable.
Yeah,
so
sometimes I see you cramped in the corner in a very exorcist type pose, trying to get your shots and get your angle, but you capture the shot, so that's important, and you always do. But it is, it does help when you have the space. And but again, I think it's just bringing more awareness to the groom experience, and encourage them to be more intentional about thinking about having enough space, having someone actually capture those moments with them, and being there with them. And for me, like, just supporting them through that. I know that even when I'm working with my grooms, like, it's like you said, they're just vibing out. Sometimes it kind of feels like we become extra members of the groom party.
Yeah.
And that's also really fun. I really enjoy that, and connecting with my grooms in that way, and I'm sure you enjoy that as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm thinking. I want to ask you, like, I guess, from start to finish. So for you, start would be way before I come into the picture. So just meeting with the client, kind of getting an idea about their needs, what they want, to, the wedding day. What is that process like for you? Like, emotionally, like, mentally preparing everything? Like, how do you kind of juggle that all?
Well, I would say for me, it is very fun meeting new people. I really enjoy meeting new people, hearing their stories and hearing what their experience is. I've done this, once or twice, so I'm very, I have an idea of what to expect and what guys are looking for. One of the common answers that I get is, well, whatever she wants, I'll make me happy. But I want to get guys out of that, like, happy wife, happy life, for sure. However, let's just think about what it is that's going to make you happy. Let's bring attention to it, because there are going to be things that happen on the day of that are important to you. Maybe there's a routine that you're interested in doing to kind of keep you relaxed, or just making sure that you have food. I mean, a lot of times when I first started in this business, I would go to deliver the groom's gift, deliver the gift from the groom to the bride, and then pick it up. The bride, they have brunch and mimosas flowing and everything like that, and the guys, like, we're hungry, and they only got red Solo cups from the night before from when they stepped out having some drinks. So just being mindful of, you got to eat that day. You need help pressing your shirts. Also, you ask these groomsmen to be, or these grooms people to be a part of your party, and you don't want to ask them to be running around and doing errands, because again, you want them to also to enjoy the moment. You don't want them missing opportunities and capturing moments potentially with you, very intimate, special moments that they can be a part of, because they're out running an errand quickly. So I'm here to help facilitate that. I always like to say that the planner is the captain and I'm the lieutenant. So the captain oversees the macro of what's going on with the event, and I'm the lieutenant. I focus on my platoon, which is the groom's party, and I make sure that they're in tip-top shape, on time, ready to go, looking dressed to the nines, reduce stress, keeping them calm and relaxed. Also, but keeping them engaged and having a good time, not letting them get too rowdy. Sometimes, there are some groups that get a little excited, or rambunctious, but kind of keeping them all together, getting them from point A to point B, smoothly, without a hiccup. There are always the hiccups on the day of the wedding, but seasoned professionals are prepared for that, like yourself and I. And one of the things I like to say about you is also the behind the scenes content. So like once the as a hired photographer and videographer to document the entire wedding come in, you kind of take a step back and kind of start to see some behind the scenes stuff. One cool thing is I've seen you do is the first looks. So while the photographer and videographer are focused on the first look, you're able to actually get the reaction of the bridal party as they're watching their friends do their first look. Tell me, like, how cool is that?
It is pretty cool. It's just being in this profession, as a newcomer, is definitely eye-opening. There's a lot that, just kind of goes over your head if you're not really in that setting and in that moment. There's so many precious things that happen. There's just so many emotions, and it's funny, like, meeting these people for the first time and like still feeling connected, because it's something that is genuine, and you just feel really happy for the person. You just feel happy for everybody there. So seeing the first look is definitely really, really nice. It's just great because most of the time, well, yeah, all of the time really, it's technically like my first time seeing the bride too. We really don't have any interaction with the bride, so it's very nice to kind of put myself in the groom's shoes and actually see what's going on and be able to capture that, his reaction, and kind of seeing, like what's out there, and kind of, just feeling that with them.
Yeah. So outside of documenting the groom experience, what other kind of things are you interested in, like, in doing? Like, what other filming and projects that are you working on, or you have aspirations of working on?
Okay, so basically aspirations, always, doing a documentary and kind of like journalistic approach. I really enjoy portrait photography. In my personal practice, I have more of an, I guess, antiquated approach. I really like to photograph on film, and that's actually a dream of mine one day, to maybe do a shoot with some grooms on film. I think that would be really cool.
We need a patient group of grooms.
Yeah, we do. It's so funny too, because I remember a wedding that we did back in, I think it was October. There was actually someone that was part of like the bigger, photographic film party that had like an 8mm camera, and I was like, that's so cool. I think that's really special that someone was actually able to capture that moment in like an authentic way, something that's definitely not seen as much right now, but film is coming back, so that's pretty cool to see. So I was like, yeah, I think that would be cool one day to bring that out. But personal projects, yeah, just working on like other event videography things, doing portraiture, event photography, definitely just networking and seeing where that'll take me, aside from my fine art practice.
Yeah, so when I first got into the industry, I leaned very heavily on my Wedding Vendor Pro network. Being what I do is very niche and very new, a new concept to a lot of people in a lot of different markets. It was very important for me to lean on my network, Munalucci. That network has been very integral in helping me get my name out there. How have you found that you've been accepted within the Wedding Pro community? Particularly with other documentarians, being that you are pretty much ancillary or an addition to providing additional content to what they're already capturing in the main event.
Yeah, I think that's something that I definitely want to strengthen. There have been some really dope photographers and videographers that we've met, that we'll kind of connect with. Once our services are done, we'll kind of reach out and see if we can get anybody to, just kind of share footage and just have moments that we can look back on. So I'll connect with people through that. And sometimes, yeah, it's still a bit, I guess, distant in the sense that because we're so concentrated on the groom experience, sometimes the other photographers, videographers might be like way over there doing their own thing. But I think there's generally a respect, when you see other documentarians just doing their job. You recognize that, okay, this person's working, like they're, capturing the moment, they're doing their thing. So there's always that sense of respect, which I appreciate.
Yeah, that's super good. Well, Brezaja, I enjoy working with you, and I think what we're doing, and we're creating something very special in the market. Again, it's still getting it out there, but I think once people really catch on and understand the value of what we're offering, a groom concierge, dedicated groom attendant, along with a documentarian, will become the new standard in the industry, and hopefully we're pioneering that endeavor. Can you tell us, if grooms or couples are interested in learning more about how they can reach and connect with you, where can they find you?
They can find me on my website. It's brezajamonet.com, or they can find me on Instagram at Frida's Flower. So yeah, I definitely have a a few ways to get connected with you, and I would love to just, have more experience, meet new people, and just keep doing my thing.
Okay, well, Brezaja, again, thank you for taking the time to join us at the Groom's Inn. I look forward to working with you on the weddings that we already have booked together now, booked for weddings we will book in the future, and also seeing your work on weddings that we're not working together. And I wish you more continued success. And again, like I said, thank you for joining us, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks, same to you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Groom's Inn with Fontaine Concierge. I'm the groom guy, Cameron Fontaine. I'll see you next time.